I have the high ground. Fear me. Alright, back for another round of war crimes. Okay, I'm not sure whether this one is actually a war crime. I don't know whether burning someone alive is a war crime. Spoiler alert, by the way. Recovering the heat metal spell. I don't know where you thought that was gonna go. But that's the direction we're going in. This is, I'm gonna make that real clear right now. That's the direction we're heading in. More importantly though, is it a war crime? I'm not sure. I didn't really check the Geneva Convention. Maybe I'll do a war crime video in the future. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I have ideas. But, until then, all I can say is this feels like a war crime, and that's good enough for me. That's all I need to talk about it. So, let's get into it. Let's talk about the heat metal spell. Alright, first things first, we're gonna read out the spell. Don't mind me as I stare across the screen. This has a really fucking long spell that we have to read a lot of, and I don't feel like memorizing it, so, you're just gonna have to deal with it. Alright, choose a manufactured metal object, such as a metal weapon or a suit of heavy or medium metal armor that you can see within range. You cause the object to glow red hot. Any creature in physical contact with the object takes 2d8 fire damage when you cast the spell until the spell ends. You can use a bonus action on each of your subsequent turns to cause this damage again. If they're holding or wearing the object and takes damage from it, the creature must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or drop the object if it can. If it doesn't drop the object, it has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks until the start of your next turn. There's that. That's the whole spell. That's it. Let's get right down into it then. The spell has quite a few things that we can already like nitpick and look for like science clues. So in the spell, it states that the metal glows red hot, but what the fuck does that mean? The short answer is very complicated, but in short, hot. It's extremely hot. So first things first, we gotta realize that a few things. Mostly that red hot is dependent upon the metal, so this spell can change the temperature to a qualitative quality instead of a temperature-based property for each metal. So that means each metal, that if you have like titanium versus aluminum versus steel, they're all gonna glow at different temperatures. But not just that, but like different groups disagree on the temperature and color of an object. I want you to understand this, because I had to do a lot of research for this video. This video has been the most research that I've done on a video so far, just because of the amount of people who fucking agree about this, right? You can't get anything for sure here. Like, nothing agrees. And that's not science. I don't like it. But, and like, that makes sense, because we're like trying to take like a subjective thing and make it quantitative, like give a numerical value to it, but it's still gonna annoy me. And it still hurts my engineer heart that it does that. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Ugh. Anyway, you can find links below of sources that I use to kind of find my range of temperatures. But in general, red hot is somewhere between 500 and 1100 degrees Celsius, which is like 932 to 2012 Fahrenheit. So that's a fucking lot, and that's a huge ass range. Damn. Anyway, we can take the average of it, and it's about 800 degrees Celsius or 1,472 degrees Fahrenheit. So, like, we're just gonna do that. So I got curious. What happens when you get burned, and what are the temperatures that happens at? Well, I found this really cool article from the American Burn Association that goes over the risk of scalding in the home, which is like the risk of burning yourself with hot water. And it's honestly super useful, has a lot of very good safety tips. I have it linked down below. You should all check it out, see what's up with it. But for our purposes, it tells us that water at a temperature of 68 degrees Celsius can give a 3rd degree burn in less than 1 second. Uh-oh. That's an uh-oh. That's an uh-oh. Uh-oh. Let's go through why this is such an uh-oh. So, first of all, your skin is made up of 3 different layers: the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis. The epidermis is the top layer of your skin and provides a protective layer for the rest of your body, including housing immune cells. I did not know that fact before I started researching this video. And provides a protective layer. It houses immune cells so you can fight off bacteria and diseases. The dermis is the middle layer and is by far the largest layer of your skin. And it does a lot. It makes hair, oil, collagen, elastin, supplies blood, and houses the nerves controlling the touch sensation on your skin. Finally, the hypodermis is the bottom layer, the deepest layer of your skin, and connects the skin to the muscles, bones, and nerves in your body, as well as regulating temperature. So pretty neat. So, the metal is 800 degrees Celsius, which is like way above the significant burn temperature. But do you know what it is comparable to? Fucking cremation. It's comparable to cremation. Normal cremation temperatures range from 760 to 982 degrees Celsius. What was our temperature? That's right, 800 degrees. Luckily for you, and this is the only reason why you're still alive, cremation usually takes between 2 to 3 hours to turn the human body into ash. So you're not going to turn to ash immediately, but it's still not good. It's not good by any means to have something that's comparable to cremation. How the fuck am I supposed to explain this in D&D terms? How am I supposed to do? I don't know how to fucking do that. How am I supposed to take a spell that is comparable to cremation and compare it to such a pathetically weak? Is this a first level spell? Is heat metal a first fucking level spell? It does 2d8 fire damage. How am I supposed to compare cremation to 2d8 fire damage? If 2d8 fire damage is like a 3rd degree burn, then what the fuck is 86 fire damage? What is fireball? What is that? You're just spontaneously combust? What? How am I supposed to explain this? Apologies for the change in scenery and change in myself. My camera like shit itself in the middle of recording this, so this is now like 4 days later that I'm recording the rest of this now because it's been a busy weekend. So I'm most likely not your DM, and I'm definitely not a developer at Wizards of the Coast. So you don't have to listen to what I'm saying. And you should definitely check in with your DM before you try to implement these into your own game. But, feel free to use my suggestions, reworks, whatever, or don't. I'm not the fucking game police, so do whatever you want. Okay, so first up is how the spell would work as written. It's honestly pretty simple. So the spell heats up the metal to the temperature of, red hot, so 800 degrees Celsius, but it prevents the heat transfer of it until you command it to. That way, only like short bursts of heat escape at, on your command, so at a time, so you're not just like cremating them the whole time. This tracks pretty well actually with the spell, because to do damage on subsequent turns, you actually have to spend your bonus action to focus your energy and cause the heat to cause damage. So it's not just doing passive damage to the person. But it still doesn't feel right. Something about it is just like, you know what I mean? It's just, So, because, the spell still doesn't feel, quite right, with the effect that, you're essentially cremating a person, I have come up with, like, two general solutions, like, two ideas of a solution, a correction to this problem, if you will. The first one, obvious solution, increase the spell level. Increase the spell level and also increase the damage done, because this is 2d8. No, I refuse to believe that 2d8 fire damage is enough to cremate you. No, absolutely not. I refuse to believe it. Take heat metal, make it a higher level spell, increase the damage done per turn, and call it a day. I feel like that's a really good, really simple solution to start off with. The second solution, a little bit more complicated, a little bit more work involved, but just as interesting, I think, would be to split the heat metal spell into actually two spells. One spell to affect objects not worn or carried, make it like a lower level spell for more utility purposes. So like you can heat up objects, and melt locks, do stuff like that. And this is an and, not an or, and create a higher level spell that is specifically to focus on metal objects people are wearing or carrying, and increase the damage done per that level. So maybe make it like heat metal for objects that are not being carried, like a first level spell, so that way it's more like a utility spell, add some more utility uses to it, talking about like melting objects maybe, and then have heat metal for an actual damage spell be a higher level spell, like maybe 4th or 5th level. Both of those are options that make sense and don't involve cremation for a 2nd level spell. I'm still kind of upset about that. I'm gonna be honest. I'm still kind of upset about that part. So what have we learned today? The heat metal spell heats up metal objects to 800 degrees Celsius, which is the temperature at which cremation happens. Number 2, Wizards of the Coast likes to add adjectives without realizing the impact that it has on a living person. Which, I mean, fair. They're not scientists. They are game developers, and, this is a fantasy game, so they're not trying to be scientifically accurate. But, they made cremation a 2nd level spell, so that feels bad. Very bad. But you know what? That's why I'm here, to point it out in an obnoxious way and to provide some kind of solution. So, don't commit war crimes. Don't. And, do what you think is best to correct this spell. If it needs correction, who knows? That's up to you and your DM. It's between you and God. God being the DM. Have fun with that. Anyway, next question.
Subscribe.
So what have we learned today? Heat metal spell cremates you if it, left on too long. It's gone. You're fucking too late, bro.